right, guys, my ongoing battle with the Hmong is on. It's like a cursed boomerang. You throw it away, you think it's gone, it comes back. So I'm not going to be doing the live this week. Just, it ain't happening. Handling the technical stuff and everything else, juice is not there. Some people I've been meaning to contact, especially Joe, who was trying to get on last week. I couldn't get his audio working. I haven't got back to him. We'll try to. I'm down for the count over here, working my way through stuff. But in my delirium, I'm obviously paying attention to the Dolphins, what's going on in little mini camps and all this other stuff. There's a lot of hyperbole that's coming out of it. The NFL is like a peacock dance in a lot of ways. So I'm going to try to just dial into some real tangible stuff. Now, I want the two things I want to focus on is Patrick Paul and Jaelen Phillips. And I think there's concrete stuff you can focus on. And I think it's important for these two guys who are good guys and big pieces to our team that fans keep a perspective. And I'm going to go over that. So it's good and it's not bad, but it's realistic. Fact that we're seeing Jonnu Smith move like a receiver and make some of these catches is a big deal. You add in a guy like that to this offense with Tua and Hill and Waddle and OBJ, it is a huge aspect. I've gone over it multiple times. This is a legit reality. So when people are talking about what John is doing, you should be gassed on it fairly. Some other things not so much. Achane getting out in space and catching that football. That's legit. That's what I wanted from the kid last year. I thought they should have made it happen a little bit more. It's going to keep him from getting dragged down from behind. Is where a lot of his injuries happen. Get him the ball in space. And so now you got Jalen Wright to do the muscle work. You got Mostert to go inside and out. You still want Achane to hit those pop runs on the edge, maybe a little inside. But getting him the ball in the pass game is huge. And so that's a legit thing. This guy catching that football is going to be a nightmare. Tua's demeanor, he is really upset. There is a little bit of seriousness between both sides. I think he's going to get signed. I don't see how he can't. I think before you get to camp, he'll be signed. If not, then it is going to be a major problem. But there is a little both sides putting their foot in the ground. I think that's a real thing that's going on. I wouldn't, it's not the end of the world. But this Patrick Paul, a little bit that I'm going to cover, and Jaelen Phillips, I think that is legit as well. So before I get into both these things, I want to talk, because I'm going to do Phillips first. 2 injuries. I can't believe Corey Linsley is retiring. Chargers caught him, and he's retiring due to a heart condition. This kid is young. I mean, he's in football, he's like old, but he's in his early 30s. That is crazy. I don't know. That's bizarro. Sad to see. This guy is so talented. I know some people don't like Herbert, and yay, but that's terrible, man. That is terrible at a young kid like that. They say it's not critical, but anytime your heart's not doing good, man, at that age, that's critical. But on the good side, that's going to really lead me into the Phillips thing. And then you can attach it to Chubb if you want. There's nothing, I don't have any tangible stuff on Chubb. Nick Chubb, not our Chubb, Nick Chubb is already running on hard surface. And his injury was grotesque. And it was far worse than Phillips or Chubb. And it was in week 2, so it was much earlier than both these guys. But the fact that he is returning from that injury. I remember it was Napoleon Kaufman. Was that him? The Charger. The Raider. And he was hit the same way. And he was done. And this is like 20-something years ago. Napoleon McCullum, I think it was. Yeah. And to see this kid back a year later running on hard surface, we have unbelievable medical technology. But still, there is some ground, as you can see with Corey Linsley, where it can't cover. But the fact that he is such an aggravated injury, it gives great hope for Chubb and Phillips, who will be back. But the time frame, I've had people talk about to be ready to be week 1. I'm hoping. I'm obviously hoping, but I think that's a long shot. I think it's a real long shot, and you don't really want it. You've got so much money in Chubb, and I thought it was like you could get out of it, but you really can't next year. As a human being, you wanted to succeed like that, but from a personal standpoint of your Dolphins, this is a huge asset. You need him. You can't rush this kid back. And then Phillips, he hasn't gotten his money. He had a hard road to get here. Chubb's going to be here no matter what. Phillips, they're planning on keeping him. You want to see this guy pop the last 6, maybe 8 weeks to carry us to the postseason, but then also to show that he's worth that next contract. And so I just don't think these guys are going to come back right away. And I want to show some film on Phillips walking. I think it's very clear there's atrophy of some level on his injured calf. If you know a calf, I'm not an expert, but I bodybuilded for years. I was an athlete for years. The calf is like 2 horseshoes, and you get that split, on the back. And then there's the Achilles that runs down in between them. So you're expecting to see that double horseshoe. Now, Phillips doesn't, in his good leg, you could see he has pretty good horseshoes, but he's so tall. When you get the hole you get, it's hard to have those pop muscles. But surprisingly, as tall as he does, that left calf does pop, and you can see it. But the right calf, I'm going to show you the film, there is a diminishing. Now, they talked about a limping. He came out and said, "You see me limping?" I don't know. Maybe I felt like he was a little bit, but I clearly see that leg is not in a spot where I'm saying June, July, August, September, 3 months, this guy is going to be ready. I think it's going to be maybe an 8-week into the season area. So let's take a look at this. Good news is that you can see right here, there is muscle there. You can see the bend on the inside and the outside. And, but there is look at that. There's not that horseshoe there. It's a flat look on both sides. When you compare it to the other leg, you could see it. It's that horseshoe, that strong outer muscle, and then a pop underneath the inner muscle. And you can see it here. It's just still underdeveloped, and that takes time to come back. And, I still think I see him limping a little bit. I love this kid, but when you get that Achilles torn as bad, and you can see right there, it's just not popping out. It's not the same. It's going to take some more time. You keep looking here. You see that? It's kind of like a flat, there's no cut in it. And with the other side, you see right there, it's just, there's no outside horseshoe. And I think clearly there's some more ways to go for this kid. And it's fine. This was a severe injury. We have to be realistic. This kid needs, for his sake, for our sake, to take his time to get back. And I think maybe 5 more. I'm not an expert, but he's got to develop confidence in that leg. He's got to develop that muscle. He's got to get himself at least 95% before he can really start practicing the way he needs to. The NFL is brutal, especially in a run game. So the kid is coming along. He's clearly coming along. He's walking. He did his little thing. But now it's okay. It's healed. We've got to rebuild. So I still think Jaelen Phillips is a mid-season arrival earliest. Again, I'm no expert, but you can see the film there. It's pretty clear. I'm praying for the kid. I love the kid as a human being. I love the kid as a player. So this is not animus in any way, shape, or form. I've broken my arm, and I've looked at it when the cast came off, and it was a stick, and I know how long it took to take back. I broke most of the fingers on my hands. I broke my foot a couple of 2 years ago. I've been injured. I understand the process from an experience level. And that is going to take a little time. They're going to be using electrodes. They're going to be using therapy. They're going to be using exercise. But that atrophied muscle takes some time. And I don't think week 1 is feasible in any way, shape, or form. And nor do I want. I want this kid to be his best, to get the big contract, and to do well for us at the end of the season. And time, I think, is the best quantity for that. Okay, so Patrick Paul, I got film for you guys. It's just this move to the mountains, and the sickness has slowed it down. It's coming. is going to kind of show some of the stuff that we're hearing here. And this is a Nulla kid. To me, Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, they were put in too early. And, you know, it's like anything else. You could be a secretary or a desk guy, or you could be a mechanic, you could be a football player. If you're put into a job where you have to make it happen and you're not up to snuff, you start developing ways to get it done, and it's usually outside the proper way to do it because you just got to make do. So you take shortcuts, you find ways outside the proper protocol to get it done, but over time it develops bad habits, okay? And then those habits become bad techniques. It's the same with the football play. When you rush them in, say, I'll just throw them in. It doesn't work like that. If the guy is overwhelmed and he finds ways to get things done, then he's not building those proper habits and the proper techniques to succeed. Paul is a project player. And you say, well, he's a second round. Why is he? Well, we tried to get into the teams. We couldn't do that. We tried to get back into the first. We didn't do it. So we had to go to the third tier guy to get. And this guy is a physical freak who needs to be, as Al from 3 yards per carry said, rebuilt. That's fine. Because if you get him even moderately rebuilt with this skill set, he's going to be a huge asset for us. But what you don't want is him, you know, some people saying he's going to play guard. He's not. And you'll find out why. Now, first, this picture here is amazing. This is his mask. That is so cool. I want this guy to succeed so bad because I like him as a person. I love the offensive lineman. I love a giant tackle that could just dominate people. And that face mask, I don't know, is that going to go into the season like that? That is unbelievable. That is something special. So I'll start with that and then get into this, which is this is the positive side. And if you attach as a fan and a staff patience to what you see here, it's going to allow him to develop good habits and good techniques. And when the time is right and he gets in there to develop confidence with these good techniques to then thrive and then do more than just survive, but to rock and roll. Okay? All right, so always a pleasure, Travis Winfield, to talk to Ron Armstead. He detailed the advice he's been given Patrick Paul, admiring the desire to take the veteran direction. Sure enough, as soon as T-Stead finishes up, I looked out to see Paul getting extra practice reps. This kid wants it. This kid's got good character. He's got high intelligence. He understands he's got weaknesses. He understands it's not a free ride because of his draft position. And he is working his tail off. My man, Teron Armstead, it's been a while since I said that, is an unbelievable mentor for this kid. They're different players, totally. Okay? But to learn from Armstead, to take the time to marinate, it is a huge asset when you have intelligence and hard work. But this kid is a developmental project. People are saying he's going to play guard. I hope you're right. Jonathan Ogden was a little bit taller than him, and he played, but he's Hall of Fame. This kid ain't that. And you can see here, and this is not, maybe those who believe he could play guard are right. But from what you see on the film, although there is some film I'm going to show you, I'm going to get it. That says this kid has the potential to do something really good when you see his movement skills. But you can see this little thing here, Omar Kelly, Steve, Knight. Do Patrick Paul still seem clunky? Any noticeable improvements since OTA's day one? Omar Kelly has a long road to go, still clunky, doesn't look fluid like Kendall Lamb. Kendall Lamb is the guy that is going to start left and right at tackle if someone goes down. And maybe if there's an emergency after that, then maybe you'll go to Paul because you want to keep so many guys on the roster. I'm praying that doesn't happen. I'm praying Jackson and Teron stay up all year and Lamb just comes in for cleanup a couple of times. And Paul can slowly marinate. He doesn't follow the road of Eichenberg. He doesn't follow the road of Jackson because it can go very, very bad. When you're out on that edge and you got to protect your quarterback, and you're getting these attacked by some of the greatest athletes in the world, you can melt. You can melt. And this kid can do some really good things, but then there's some things he really struggles with. And the film's going to pop on what he struggles with, if it hasn't already, very quickly. And he'll get exposed, and it's going to hurt him. Year 2 is a greater opportunity, and we need to hope for that. I do think this kid can develop. I was going over some of his film. I'm gonna get it. Show Tehran, show him, show a bunch of top talents in the same drills with him, and go over his Senior Bowl stuff. As soon as this mung passes and I'm semi-human, I'm going to pull it together, because I'm trying to do something where you put all the images on the same time, and it's like a whole technical thing. And because I really want it to be good. I really want it to be excellent. So that's coming out. But you'll see some clear things he needs to work on, some clear things that are strengths. And this, I think, is a fair eval. The kid will be something. I don't know exactly what. I do know it will take time, both with him and Phillips. But both these guys getting to where they need to be, even if it takes time, is going to be huge for the Dolphins. So I think we need to be realistic with that. So that's really it for today, guys. I think the OTAs, no one got really injured. Some people were dinged. OBJ, he's an older guy. He had some things. I don't know. We'll see. Tart is out of condition. He doesn't like conditioning. There's some things, and Brewers some things. But nothing like, oh, man, we got 2 months before camp, so it's all good. And that's the key thing. No real injuries, and they cut it short today, so we have no bad news. And I like that. So anyway, I appreciate all you do. Be well. Go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with acebread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.